So, kind of brings us to the last piece I wanted to share with you, is the AOD, as I mentioned before, was much like No Child Left Behind. We needed something years ago when the AOD was put into place. And as we began to have people question the AOD and where it could really take children, we were beginning to see more and more doors closed to our kids. So we said, what can we do? So we sat down and we looked at all the different diplomas that Alabama offers. And I'll be honest with you, as a former high school principal, it's some of the most complicated stuff you've ever tried to figure out. And again, the people who get our kids, business and industry, 2-year and 4-year colleges and technical schools, don't look at it anyway. So we said, how could we make this simpler to meet the needs of all children? So what we've come up with is the Alabama High School Diploma that has multiple ways to get there. And let me give you an example. Let's say in science, that the requirement is biology and a physical science, but if the 3rd and 4th science credits could be used to meet both the science and career tech course requirements. Because much of the content that is in some of our career tech courses is the same content that's in some of our science courses. Same thing with mathematics, English, 9, 10, 11, or 12, or any AP, IB, or post-secondary equivalent. Same thing with math. So it gives kids multiple ways to get to the same end without having to decide as an 8th grader where they need to go there. And I feel so strongly about this because, again, having been a high school principal, I think back to what we used to do in Elliott City, and I'm sure there's no other school system represented here that would ever do this, but we did it, and I take credit for it, is we'd go over in the spring from the high school, and then we'd sit down with the middle school principal and their counselors, and we'd go through the students that we were about to get as 9th graders. And we decide at that point in their life who was going to be on the advanced diploma, who was going to be on the regular diploma, who was going to be on the career tech diploma, who was going to be on the AOD diploma, X, Y, and Z. Now, I've already said and given you my definition of a middle schooler. You know, one collective term that describes middle schoolers to me is the term crazy, just because they're middle schoolers. Think about it. We're making a lifelong decision about a child at a point in their life when they could be kind of crazy because of hormones and everything else that makes up a middle schooler that will affect them for the rest of their lives. Why do we not create a system that has multiple pathways that can be adjusted as they move through high school based on their academic and their career interests that all lead to a recognized diploma and is differentiated by the courses you take that then determines what your options are when you leave high school? To me, that is a huge step forward, and when we presented it to our State Board of Education a couple of weeks ago, unanimously, Trish, you were there, let's do it, but let's do it right now, especially for our special needs kids, that this would open all sorts of doors for them. So this is coming. We can't do it right now because regretfully the bureaucracy makes us have to go through some hearings and vote on this, but just think about, from the perspective of your child or the children you teach, what difference this might make if we weren't pigeonholing them into a certain diploma. So you could have within any school a zillion different pathways to get to the same end. And I know for the school folks that's kind of scary because how in the world do you keep up with it? Well, there's this thing called technology, and we can figure that out if it's what's right for children. So that's coming.